I'm out in the district a lot. I talk to my constituents all the time. The issue of public safety comes up all the time. And more I hear from people that when they don't feel safe and when they call for help, they don't feel like the city is responding in a way that meets their needs. Either they call the non-emergency line from LAPD and they wait on hold until many of them give up, or they call 911 and the dispatchers say they can't do anything, or somebody shows up and when they do show up they say they can't do anything, or even that they call 911 and they have to wait an incredibly long time for someone to pick up and they call that line, and that's a problem. And all of this makes people in Los Angeles feel less safe. It creates a cycle of anxiety and resentment, and it creates pain in our neighborhoods. And I believe that you are right, that a lot of these problems are driven by short staffing. We are operating at a severe shortage in pretty much every single department right now, and that includes our complete public safety response. We're down something like 250 911 operators. We're at a 10% deficit in the fire department. We're short hundreds of officers at LAPD, and that's what we're talking about today. This is a problem. We need LA to be a city where when you call for help, someone shows up and it's the right person to respond to the issue that you're facing in that emergency. That is how we build a sense of trust and safety in the city. And you need people to accomplish that, to receive those calls, to oversee the dispatch. You need people to go out in the field, and you need people to help resolve the myriad and sometimes very dangerous issues that come up. So I am very sympathetic to the stated goals of this contract. We need to be working towards addressing staff shortages, but I'm a little concerned about the way that this MOU is responding to it. I want to first look at one part of the CAO's report. The bulk of the budget impact in this contract is actually coming from the 27% increase to the starting salary for an officer joining the academy for over 4 years. And the report says that the premise behind this is that LA must provide competitive salaries, particularly competitive starting salaries, in order to be a more attractive employer than other law enforcement agencies in the region. Unfortunately, the evidence from these other departments doesn't support that premise, because these departments are, almost to a department, also facing recruitment issues and staffing shortages, the exact same issues that LAPD is dealing with many of their shortages actually larger than LAPD's. Beverly Hills has a shortage. Burbank has had a shortage since 2016. Glendale has a shortage. Long Beach has a shortage. Santa Monica has a, quote, record shortage. Torrance has 20% vacancy. The Sheriff's Department has 1,200 sworn vacancies. San Francisco PD, which we didn't compare to because it's not nearby, has a $100,000 starting salary and a 25% shortage. Data around resignations from the department also doesn't support the goals of the contract, which is that the majority of people leaving LAPD are going to these other departments. As the slide you shared, the total number of resignations from 2017 till now showed that 177 officers went to go to another agency, and 809 resigned to leave policing altogether, and 422 of them did so while in the academy. Police staffing issues are not just the product of the last 3 years. In 2016, the Police Protective League ran a campaign against what they called critically low staffing levels and advocated for more civilians to be hired so that officers could focus on police work. In 2019, before the protests that are so often blamed for nationwide police staffing issues, the Police Executive Research Forum reported that 86% of departments across the country were facing a shortage. And the data shows that almost every single department across the country has been steadily losing officers at a rate that is very comparable to LA's situation. It is my belief that much of this that we're facing right now today is a macro issue. It is not related to Los Angeles. I want to be very clear. I am not coming to this at all from a place of wanting to eliminate our police response. We need the capacity to defend our residents against violence and crime, and to investigate it effectively when it happens, and to hold perpetrators accountable for harm. And our staff works with the department every day. We have senior lead officers who are among our best partners in the field, and who my staff and I believe to be among the best officers in the entire city of Los Angeles. And I'm not coming to this from being against giving a fair salary increase to any of our incredible and hardworking city workers, especially to keep up with rising inflation and the enormous rise in the cost of living in this city. But what we need to be doing is creating a system that really works to address our challenges and that makes us resilient to national macro trends on crime and peace officer staffing. We have not had a history of doing that in this city, and I want to be clear about what we're doing, that we need to look at history and recognize that we may be repeating the mistakes of the past. In 2019, when we last renegotiated police salaries, the increase we handed out, even as staffing and recruitment continued to decline, actually put the city from a surplus into a deficit during a time of incredible economic growth and increase in taxes, and it put us in an even more dire financial and operational position when COVID hit. I entered city government then to a hollowed out city workforce, which continues to reel from vacancies, and major threats to our public safety are simply unable to be addressed. I don't have staff at DBS to inspect bad actor developers in the hillsides, increasing our threat of mudslides during torrential rains. I can't get abandoned buildings that pose fire and safety risks to their neighborhoods secured and closed off fast enough. I can't get sidewalks repaired fast enough. I can't get trees trimmed fast enough. I can't design and build traffic lights and safer streets at a rate anywhere near what this city's deadly streets call for. I can't get 911 calls answered quickly and effectively because they also have a massive shortage. And this contract, because of its enormous fiscal impact, potentially prevents us from being able to build out an alternative response to nonviolent calls for service, which are the majority of 911 calls, many of which are calls regarding homelessness and mental health issues, a system that if we actually invested in building out citywide, we could actually free up armed response for violent and serious crime. If we can build out a public safety response that truly makes sense for LA, and I think we can do this, that makes sense for the range of public safety issues that this city deals with, we won't lose a step when we're hit with financial crisis or macro trends that cause these shortages in the first place. We can be expanding our public safety response while other cities are cutting back because of poor investments that they made. The vision we need to be working towards, the vision that I believe in so strongly, that someone shows up when you call for help, and it's the right person for whatever issue you're facing. I feel a very powerful responsibility to move us towards that vision in this role, and I fear that this contract, with its enormous fiscal impact on the city, leaves us less capable of doing that, and it is for that reason that I will be voting no today. Thank you.